Hi, I'm here at Quad State with Caitlin Morris from Miss Caitlin's Blacksmithing School.
Hello, how's it going?
Good. What brought you to Quad State specifically?
Well, I'm so honored. They reached out to me and invited me to come here to teach. Quad State is such an incredible gathering of blacksmiths, and it crushes me that I've been blacksmithing for such a long time, and this is my first Quad State. I've heard about it for years. I'm so thrilled to be here. We've got 5 forges, 5 anvils, and basically we've got 3 major challenges. We've got making a knot. So taking a piece of really thin, long piece of material and making just a straight up knot out of it. The second challenge we had was making a leaf keychain. The third challenge is for folks who have done the bending and they've done the forging and they want to put it together. And we've had some amazing things happen here today. We've had folks that have put a figure 8 knot in there, and this is the thing that's just so exciting for me here, is that I provide the context, I provide the materials and some support and help, but truly what's happening here is that everyone here is teaching themselves. We've had folks come in here who had no experience. We've had folks that have come in here that have done so much forging at a really high level, and they're still getting stuff out of these projects, which is just so exciting.
So what made you want to start forging?
My folks have been stationed in Europe, and I grew up looking at the pictures of the ornamental ironwork that they have there. And as a result of that, I was like, I don't see that in my world here. I really wonder how people do that, how people get into that. I was like, I'd really love to try that. I don't even know anybody who does this. I was working ridiculously long hours at my job, 13-hour days, and it was a small business. It was wonderful, but I was realizing I was pouring all of my life force energy into this other business. And I was like, you know what? I think I need a hobby. So I wrote down all the things I wanted to learn how to do in Microsoft Excel, right? So you can sort of see the nerd here, right? And then Microsoft Excel has a button that alphabetizes a list. And when I pressed the button, blacksmithing snapped up to the top. So I was like, okay, I gotta try it. I did a Google search. The first place that came up was the John C. Campbell Folk School in Brasstown, North Carolina. And it was like an 11-hour drive for me. It was a week's vacation. And I was like, who does that? Who takes a week's vacation to go learn blacksmithing? I didn't have any idea at that time. So I looked at how expensive it was and how long it would take for me to learn blacksmithing. And I was like, that's ridiculous. And I closed my computer down and I walked out to go get lunch, right? And I'm out there in the hall and I just had this little thought bubble pop up to me that says, if you want to live a life of adventure, you have to go on adventures, right? And so I went back into my office and I signed up for the class, took the class, and absolutely fell in love with forging. But I was really bad at it. I was so bad at it.
I think everybody starts really bad at it.
Well, and it was especially challenging because I was one of a class of 12 folks. And everybody in there had so much more experience than I did. And I was the smallest, and I was the weakest, and I was the only woman in the class. And as a result of that, I felt like, oh man, everybody else knows how to do this and not me, right? And so I really struggled in that whole first week. But even though I was struggling, I wanted to quit my job. I wanted to become a blacksmith. I wanted to teach blacksmithing. So I got started teaching blacksmithing in 2010 when I had only been blacksmithing myself for about 6 months. I got started teaching because where I could practice forging, I had to have a buddy with me so that if something bad happened, somebody could call 911. I was always kidnapping my friends and taking them out to the forge and letting them do some blacksmithing. But of course, if they weren't very good at it and they were having a hard time doing it, they wanted to go home. So I had to teach my friends how to do this in order to be able to keep blacksmithing myself. I sort of figured out that one of the things that's special about what I can bring to the world is this teaching aspect. And it was wild. It's so super crazy. Nobody tells you, okay, yes, you're allowed to teach blacksmithing now. And so I just went out there and I started teaching people beginner stuff. And over time, I started to realize that as I was teaching, I was better able to understand what I was doing wrong, and I got better and better at it over time. It took 7 years until I actually opened my own school. It's just shy of its 10th birthday, and we have 2 locations now, one in Frederick, Maryland, and one in Lidditz, Pennsylvania. We just opened that a couple months ago. But I also teach some like virtual sign-up classes where folks can get private guidance on whether their setup is correct, whether their hammer swing is working properly for them, and just some expert guidance on how to tweak things so it's better for ergonomics. Just forging with joy. What's so important to me as a teacher is sort of this consent-based teaching style, where I'm working with folks to make sure that what I'm teaching them is exactly what they want to learn. I can throw a zillion things at you, but if you don't have the question, if you don't have the reason for the information that you're getting, it all just washes over your head. Yeah. And maybe give them a little foreshadowing about what they might encounter if they keep going down this road.
Yeah, I kind of have a backwards teaching perspective from that. I will answer your questions and stuff like that, but I also give you a lot of context. I feel like even if stuff goes over your head, the more you do, sometimes it kind of like clicks later.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because like when you look at it, it ends up being like about 10% that we pick up where there's no like hook to hang it on, yeah. Right? And so you hear it over and over and over again, then you have this aha moment weeks down the line where you're like, oh, that's what she was talking about. Ding, ding, ding. My website is mskaitlynsschool.com. There's a book now option, and then it'll take you to the different locations that I teach at. Frederick, Maryland, Lidditz, Pennsylvania, and online.
Awesome. All right. Thank you
so much. Absolutely. Such a pleasure.